Justin, I need your help. I have 6 weeks till my live summit. We have 0 sponsors.
Let's not go right out the gates and offer a discount.
What can I do this year that causes these sponsors to immediately go, I really want to give you a key part of this?
You should reach out and be like, if you're going to do this, you have to do it in the next 2 weeks.
Obi-Wan Kenobi / Justin Moore, you're my only hope.
So let's take a step back here. Explain what the summit is all about. Why are you doing this summit? And second of all, why is it so cheap? And third of all, why do you think you want sponsors to be a part of it?
Yeah. So the backstory behind this, between you and I, and just you and I, right? And the world also. But I read the book, The Science of Scaling, this year by Benjamin Hardy and another author who I've forgotten and I apologize to right now. But I read The Science of Scaling this year to really challenge me in terms of like thinking bigger and like setting bigger goals. And one of the things I realized was that I was kind of playing safe in my business. Because we've got a program called Sold Out Coach Club. It's consistently sold out, true to its name. And so we get money from that. I write books, as you know, and like that's a key part of my business. And that's all doing well. And like we're sort of like, kind of gradually growing. But he really challenged me through that book to like think bigger. And so I set a goal to help 100 authority business builders earn $1 million each in their business in 2028. And like that's like the goal that came out of that. And I realized to do that, I need to shift the conversation a little bit from just going on other people's stages to talk about our business to actually owning our own stage and like stepping onto a bigger stage. And so, I mean, it scared the crap out of me, but I kind of said like, I think we just have to we have to host our own event. So that's where it started. But then I as the vision kind of came together for the end, I realized that if we want to take like what I call an authority business, so that's like your business and my business, where we often use terms like creator, personal brand, influencer. But if you're trying to build your authority on a subject and you're trying to build a business around it, I think there's a lot of things that a lot of people in the authority business don't do in terms of like goal setting, strategic planning, like things that big, boring companies do, but also like there's useful pieces to that. And I think that we need to bring some of that to the creator space. So that's really became the impetus for this event of saying, well, you can't really go into strategic planning unless you first find out what's working now. So the core focus of the event is what's working now in online business. But my plan is this is an annual event that every year we bring people together in this virtual conference to learn what's working now. But this is the kind of event that Justin, you or I would want to go to learn what's working now on YouTube, on what's working now on sponsorships, what's working now with email list growth, so that we can make a strategic plan for the following year. And so I just started texting people, including you, and saying, hey, would you speak at this event? And then people said yes, and I was like, okay, I guess we have an event.
Yeah, I guess I got to do this now. Okay, so full disclosure, as John mentioned, I am speaking at the event, and by the way, you can grab your ticket at creatorwizard.com/smarts. Just click the URL here. That is my affiliate link, by the way. And I did want to mention, though, that interestingly, tickets are $1, right? So it's not like you're trying to like make money necessarily on the event. And so I would imagine part of the strategy is like, of course, there may be a certain percentage of people who attend who might want to join your coaching program, but also sponsors could be an interesting way to not only fund the summit, but honestly, get in front of high value potential future customers of their brands, right? And so tell me more about what, like, your vision for like what types of sponsors you think would be a good fit for this, and like what you would want to offer them and so on.
Totally. So part of the reason why tickets are $1 is because we wanted to be different from other summits. Because if Justin, you and I how many summits have you been invited on this year? Do you know offhand?
A lot.
Yeah, I've been on a lot of summits. More than yeah. And honestly, they all follow the same playbook, which is like free tickets plus surprise, you can pay for the replays, and then there's like some sort of VIP upsell. And then a lot of the summits are just not great experiences. It's just a lead generation technique. So I wanted to say this is different in that we want every single person in the room to have skin in the game, but not too much skin. So that's why tickets are $1. And that includes the live plus every live session plus all the replays. Like we were just like, nope, that's all included. So that's just kind of like part of where that came from, is I want it to be a little different in terms of saying this is not just like every other summit. This is a virtual conference you want to attend every year at the end of the year. So why sponsors? I think part of that is actually just the fact that I'm owning this stage. I think if I'm stepping into this role of really owning this stage, I think I also need to acknowledge the software companies and the other tools and companies that really power this entire industry. And I think there's some element of just them being a sponsor actually, I think, adds to the credibility of the event. But I think also getting some money out of that, because I am investing a lot of money and time into this project with my team. And so getting some money out of that makes it a lot easier for us to deliver a world-class event without having to just upsell everybody to everything. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Makes sense. So do you have a short list already in mind of like brands that you'd want to pitch? All right, hit me with it.
Number one is Circle. So we're running the entire event on Circle. We're using Circle to sell tickets, Circle to sell for the events. We're actually even using Circle Livestream now instead of like Zoom for the actual video. And I have a pretty good relationship with them. So I feel like they're like the number one no-brainer.
Okay.
Right behind them would be Kit, who I also have a good relationship with, and who, we'll use that for all of our affiliate marketing and not our affiliate marketing, but email marketing and that kind of stuff, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two that come top of mind. I think right behind that is probably Senja, because we talk a lot about celebrating clients as a key marketing strategy, and Senja's the tool for that. And then Ollie and I sang karaoke together at Craft and Commerce. So as you know, Justin, and so
that's like, I know.
Yeah,
with your baritone or your bass voice. I mean, you were owning the stage, man.
Yeah, I was just planting a seed for a future sponsorship.
I knew it. I knew you chose that song for a reason. Okay, so all good stuff. All makes sense in terms of the fit. I want to start here though, because I think that there's a lot of creators and entrepreneurs who kind of sit in a vacuum like you are now and think, they ponder who would be the best fit to sponsor my event, right? And it's based on their own personal affinity for a tool or a brand or a company. And the first thing that I would potentially challenge is that what we're missing here is understanding where our registrants are at right now. So like if you already have, so number one, I don't know if you have any sort of ingestion survey after people join the summit to get their dollar ticket. The first thing that I would consider implementing is some sort of post-signup survey. So maybe there's some sort of incentive that they would answer 5, 6, 7 questions, something like that. And one of those questions is, around tools, software tools, brands, things that they're using or interested in that have helped accelerate their business over the last year. How much more powerful of a pitch that is if you take this data and you say, hey, I've got these early signals from 20 people that have registered in the last week, and they're all half of them mentioned your tool. Like, I think you should be a sponsor of this tool because we can expose you to the broader registrant pool. So that's number one. The second thing I think to be thinking about, and this is actually something I've been hearing a lot more in sponsor conversations, is especially with respect to events, both virtual or in person, is this an acquisition play or is this a retention play? Because I think a lot of times those budgets are separate when it comes to whether the brand decides to make an investment. So that would be something to figure out, is like, okay, if I can go to Kit or I can go to Circle and say, hey, 25% of the people who have registered are either they are owners of a Kit or of a Circle community, or they're in a Circle community. That could be really interesting data for them to say, like, oh, maybe this is a retention play where we go, we have a presence, we let people know we're here and we're doing cool things and we've got these new features, all this. So it's almost like a churn reduction strategy. So like when I say those two things to you, do you think that data would be feasible for you to start collecting, in advance?
Yeah, we've already got a survey, but it's more, I'm glad you're asking these questions because we didn't ask anything about tools. We're asking about like, how many email subscribers do you have? How much revenue do you make? Like those kind of things that are helpful for us to know who's in the room. I'm guessing that data would also be useful to be able to tell people like, hey, X percentage, it's going to be, so far it's something like, 50% of people in the room are already making at least $10,000 a month from their online business, like those kind of things. And so, but we should definitely add a tool question. I love that idea.
Well, and also, again, this is all kind of like anecdotal ideas for you here, but like sometimes some of these brands or companies have just chosen a strategy. Like, we're going to go after LinkedIn creators. We feel like more LinkedIn creators should have an email list, or they should have a private community or whatever. And that's just like the hot thing internal in their company that's getting the attention and getting the budget. That's I'm not going to name any names, but one of the brands that you just mentioned had a strategy like this where they hired me and, to do some promotions all around something very, very specific. It was a platform that they wanted to own, a social media platform that they wanted to own. And so, other data that might be useful is like, where's your largest following? Because if you could go to them and be like, hey, we've got X, people who have over 10,000 followers on LinkedIn or on YouTube or whatever it is, that you may not know it, that's like an important thing for them, but you suss that out in the conversation. Like you ask them on the call, are there any platforms that are a focus for you for Q4 or Q1 or whatever? So the purpose of a lot of these survey questions that you do, and here's the thing, dude, it's a bit of a chicken and the egg actually, because for I'm currently in the process of selling sponsors for my in-person event, Sponsor Games, in 2026, and I'm getting a lot of these questions too, and it's just okay, well, who's going to be there? Who's bought tickets yet? Well, like, give me the info. And like, we're not yet at the point where we sold a massive amount of tickets. So it's like, it's a bit of a like, this is what I think it's going to be based on last year and like this type of thing. So some of this might have to be extrapolated. You're going to say, okay, well, based on my current audience, maybe not current registrants, but my current audience or my current coaching clients. We do have some early data from early registrants and that's, but like to some degree, you may need to kind of draw a best fit line in terms of what you think it's going to be like. And maybe even directional information like that will help them make a decision.
I love that. That's super helpful. I had a kind of a crazy idea that I want to just get your reaction to, as far as like, I like to think of like creative sponsorship deals, but because I don't do sponsorship deals very often, like this might be a horrible idea. So can I pitch it to you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So I recognize we're dealing with limited timeline. And I know from talking to some of these people before, a lot of times there's like a corporate chain for like budgets. And so I'm also recognizing that even if the affiliate manager I talked to is just like 100% we're in next year, right? Like that's not going to work in this timeline. So I was thinking about a creative option of saying like a lot of these people actually have access to people that I want to come to the summit. And so I'm wondering if there's a play where part of this is like, hey, this sponsorship package is worth, I don't know, let's just say $5,000 for this example. But if you promote the summit to your audience, use your affiliate link to track it, for every person who buys a ticket, we'll mark $20 off the sponsorship price. Or something like that, where it's like you're selling a $1 ticket. And so basically, theoretically, if you just promote the event, I mean, you could just get the sponsorship for free if you sell a bunch of tickets, or you get at least half off or something like that. Is that a crazy idea?
Tricky, because usually that's probably going to be two different departments. The person who's holds the purse strings for like deciding to do an event sponsorship maybe someone completely different from the content marketing department, where they're the people who own promotion of like anything, content on their channels, content to the newsletter, things like this. And they may not even, they don't have their incentives in their role are completely opposite, right? The event sponsor person, event marketer, whatever, they have a budget probably to spend. And so the idea of like getting a free sponsorship, they have to then go horse trade with the content marketing manager who has not incentivized at all to share about your summit. They don't care about saving the money because they don't have a budget for that, really. So I'm not saying that's the case everywhere. Like a smaller company might have the same person handling all those things.
I think for Senja, I think it's just Ollie, basically.
Yeah, for someone like Senja, it's Ollie, obviously, and so maybe an approach like that might work with him. Mm-hmm. The one thing I want to caution you though is that let's not go right out the gates and offer a discount. Like, hey, if you do this for me, I'll give you a discount. Like, ideally, it would be like, here's the number, and then you shut up, right? You don't try and negotiate against yourself. You, even if it's like on an accelerated timeline, you still give them the opportunity to surprise you and be like, sure, John, here's 5K or here's 10K or whatever it is.
It's actually at our end of year budget. We have to spend it.
Perfect. We have 7K left or whatever. And you're like, great. So again, that's always my thing. I will say a couple tactical suggestions here is that, like, looking at the timeline here, the summit is, December 10th, right? We don't have much time of recording, like especially leading up to American Thanksgiving, which is in basically 2 weeks. And so if you're going to do this, you have to do it in the next 2 weeks, like legitimately, because once everyone gets back, you're basically going to have a week before the summit, and there's no way you're going to be able to turn something like this around in that quickly and do the promotion necessary to, like, whatever you're going to ultimately offer them for, making posts on LinkedIn or whatever it's going to be on the newsletter. So let's just be like real here. Do we feel like 2 weeks is enough time to try to devise this strategy?
I mean, my plan is to send whatever that first message is. My plan is to send that, like, if not today, definitely this week. Yeah. And then I don't know. I mean, I do think that's stuff at the time that I'm operating on is that basically, like, I've told my team, like, I'm going to go eat with Justin. And when I come back, we're doing whatever he says. And so, yes, I do think we can operate in that timeline. I also, like, I'm not betting the farm or betting payroll on these sponsorships coming through. And so, like, if the timeline becomes the number one reason why it doesn't work out, like, that's okay.
Okay.
Between you and I, don't tell the sponsors that, like this event on the back of the sponsors,
Okay. So let's say, we're resolved that we're going to pitch them something in the next 2 weeks. What are we going to pitch them? So let's talk about like what in your mind, what do they get in exchange for sponsoring the summit? What will you offer them?
Yeah. I think some of that depends on their goals, but my initial thinking there was that let's use your circle as an example. What I would love to do is to be able to like prominently feature, like, first of all, like their brand. I mean, that's like, I think a bare minimum of like in the registration page, like sponsored by Circle, and like probably have that in some of the email campaign as well. But then actually at the event, alongside all the other speakers, I would love to feature somebody from the Circle team of saying like, hey, what's working right now in building a community online, right? And so it kind of like them coming in, I'm interviewing them live as part of the summit. And then I would also be open to doing some sort of like attached to that, like, oh, hey, by the way, if you want to learn more about Circle, we're doing a live demo. And maybe that's more like a product webinar. And that could be something that's just like included as part of like almost like bonus content in the summit itself. That would be the primary thing that I would think about, that's kind of what comes to mind. That's what I came up with. What do you think?
Okay. So 2 days ago, I got an email from Circle about something that they're calling the Future of Communities Summit.
Yeah.
Right? Now, this is happening November 18th. So this is before your event, obviously. But had you started planning your event, John, 6 months ago, you might have engaged Circle in a conversation about partnering with you on your summit and found out that they were hosting this summit in November. And you may have made a choice to actually make your event prior to this so that one of the deliverables could be promoting their event on your event.
Okay. Yeah.
So obviously this won't work out for this particular summit that you're hosting because it's afterwards. But like, this is one of the, I just want this to be kind of a teaching moment that like, this is the importance of planning things so far in advance if you want to get sponsors, because something like this, they have a budget for this. Clearly, they're running ads for this. They're hiring creators to talk at this. I've spoken on one of their summits. It was a paid engagement, right? And so they're devoting marketing budget, event budget towards something like this. And so if you came to them and you had a conversation and said, hey, I would love for you to sponsor my event, and one of the deliverables could be having, Alexis, who runs partnerships on their team, speak at the event, and you could do a hearty shout out for your own event that happens a week later or 2 weeks later or something like that.
That's cool.
So does this make sense? So again, like, that's what they got money for, man. They got money for their own things, their own priorities. So it's just like a much harder sell to just be like, you want to be in front of these people. That's where some of the data that we talked about earlier can pay off. Like, okay, we need to be at this event because a bunch of the people on Circle are like going to be in attendance or whatever. That's a sell too. But like, I just want to like, again, not that it can't work. I'm just saying like, this is top of mind because I just saw this email 2 days ago. And I would say this would probably have been a slam dunk if your summit was like first week, like right now, happening tomorrow or today, right?
I like that. Well, let me just mention, just add this to the conversation here, that because I've already committed that the Sell Your Smart Summit is an annual event every December. I mean, honestly, I do want to take a long-term approach to this. Like, I recognize I'm dealing with a 6-week timeline, which is not long-term, but I really want to think like, what can I do this year that causes these sponsors to immediately go, okay, next year, I really want to be a key part of this. Because like one of the things I'm also hoping to do is like over-deliver for these sponsors. Like this year, honestly, I may not be asking a lot from them because it's a first time event. There's, like I can give them some data, but there's a lot of just like, we'll see. But I would love to be able to have this become partners that are repeat partners.
I have an idea for you. So I think that let's just hedge for a second here and just talk about worst case scenario, which is that you're not able to lock in any sponsors for this event, right? Because it's a quick timeline. What I would consider doing is, if you're not currently an affiliate for the 3 tools that you mentioned, sign up ASAP to be an affiliate and make a concerted effort or push to get people on your summit to sign up for these tools using your affiliate link. And if you're able to demonstrate to them, gather some proof to them that like, hey, I got 5 people to sign up for a Kit account after, one of my sessions, go take a look at this data here, that can serve as proof of why they'd want to support it in a larger capacity for future events.
I like that idea, because like, even if they say they don't have the budget for sponsorship, I could position it as the event being powered by Circle and Kit and Senja, which is true. And I could have my own like demo sessions, or they would probably agree if I wanted to do like an affiliate webinar as part of the event or something like that.
Let me just take a page out of the lovely book sitting over your shoulder there, which is that this is serving your audience. You're serving them by showing them the technology that powers your business. So it's not like a self-serving thing. It's like, hey, let me show you this cool automation that I have in Kit that helps me. By the way, I just wanted to give you a big shout out that that like 8-word email that you sent out like 2 weeks ago or whatever was like, are you ready to start group coaching yet or whatever? And it's just like, John, I literally just sent that email out this morning. I stole the email. I was like, this is a perfect email. And so like,
did you also say group
and
coaching? No,
I did not. I said sponsorship coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if you were to do that, like for example, I identified a segment in Kit of high value leads that might be interested. So people have clicked on my coaching program like at least 3 times, and like whatever it was like like 150 people. Like that's a cool thing to like teach on that summit, and show people how you can like, you don't need, I know this is your whole thing, you don't need 10,000 people on an email list to like develop a $10,000 a month group coaching business or whatever, right? And so like, and then the call to action at the end of that little session is like, hey, and here's my affiliate link to sign up for Kit. And then you use that data later on to pitch them.
I like that a lot. I mean, I would also like the money, but I think like the reality is, in the interest of like serving and teaching, like ultimately what's working now is not just about strategies and tactics. It's also about tools, right? Because like the tools we're using today, I mean, 12 years ago, I was using MailChimp, right? Like, so like that's something that's changed, is that I'm not using MailChimp. And I do get questions all the time. People are saying like, wait a minute, you use Circle and Kit, but Circle really wants me to like cancel Kit and just be like all in on Circle with their new like Kit Killer, their like email tool. And I'm like, yeah, but here's why I don't, and so like, so I do have opinions, and then could definitely teach something useful on that. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I also, just to kind of stretch outside of software for a minute, I was also thinking, I was like, I'm about to move to Puerto Rico. We're setting up a new office there. And then we're also hosting this live event. And so I thought, okay, wait, a live event. I do a lot of live workshops. This would also be a good time, candidly, to say like, okay, I could probably use an upgrade on like camera, microphone, like lights, and like that kind of stuff. And that might also be an opportunity just to kind of like branch out of software for a minute, of like other potential sponsors. What do you think about that?
I think ask your audience. You got to figure out, you ask the registrants. It's not just about you. It's about how can I serve them? If they say that one of my biggest struggles positioning myself as an expert is I feel like I don't have the right camera gear to look professional, then yeah, that's a great sponsorship. And so you could bring that data to Shure mics or Canon or Sony or whoever and say like, hey, like, have you ever targeted the subject matter expert market, the coach market, like the author market? Because these people want to be in front of a camera, but they just are intimidated. They don't really know how to do so. And that's why I would love to talk about your creator kit. A lot of these companies have the creator kit now, and it's like a camera and it's a simple light and a mic and whatever. So again, we're making stuff up here, bro. We can't speculate. We got to like figure out from our audience, what are their challenges? And okay, let's be real here. Like, we can kind of lead the witness a bit with the questions. Yeah. We can say, like, is being on camera intimidating to you? Like that is a psychographic type question rather than like what type of camera do you have? Which is like it's the question, the critical thing. And I think this, the critical thing about the questions is, how is this question going to serve them? Yeah. It's not about me wanting the information and I'm going to benefit from this information. It's about, I'm asking this question so that I can help you overcome something or get to some sort of transformation. One of the things that I would do, by the way, if you're going to actually enrich your survey with data, like right after this call, I would think, okay, the 3 that you mentioned here, Circle, Kit, and Senja, what are 3 questions that I could ask that would give me really interesting feedback into community building, for example? So I would say, if you've ever considered building an online community, what are your biggest hesitations with that? Or if you've ever considered owning your audience, you're an author and whatever, and you what are your biggest concerns or hesitations with like growing an email list or something? And so again, like, you can lead the witness a bit, so because the sponsors that you actually want to pitch.
That's cool. That's helpful. And also thinking about just like the affiliate play, I don't know why, but that inspired like a couple other for me, where I thought like, okay, like Score app or Write Message would also be great opportunities. Yeah. Anyways, there's just a lot of opportunities here. So I guess maybe, Justin, I think.
Okay. Hold on. I got some inside baseball for you here. Okay. So full disclosure, I'm an investor in Write Message. And I know that Brennan is really hot right now on doing live webinars with customers, where he helps them make their surveys way more personalized and customized for onboarding and stuff. I think you should pitch him, dude. You should reach out and be like, hey, dude, sponsor the summit and come do a live roast of my segmentation strategy, my personalization strategy on the summit.
Yeah, we could do that. He reached out to me last month, and so actually, like, that's why he is top of mind. I don't know why I didn't mention him earlier. Is that we talked about doing some stuff together. My only fear with that is I may have I'm trying to remember. I'd look back and see what I said, but I may have said in that meeting like, "Hey, we're gonna do a summit. Like, you should just like show up and talk and share stuff." Like, I might have just been like, because that was like the day where I was like excited about the summit. So I might have already like told him that was an option. I don't know. But then he was gonna. But I left the ball in his court to send me a next step, and he didn't, which is why I'm realizing like, oh, we haven't talked.
Can I also like just I'm not gonna like try and like roast you right now, but like, dude, this is a big part of like getting sponsorships across the line or partnerships like this across the line is like having a CRM or like following up with people and remembering like, oh yeah, like Brennan might have been a good fit, but it just kind of fell off the radar and all that. So I get it. I understand that. But like, this is a new revenue stream that requires new processes and systems within your business. You've got a bunch of processes for your group coaching program, right?
Yeah.
That you and your team follow. And so I'll always encourage that if you want to add sponsorships to your revenue stream, not only do you have to have a process for pitching and doing outreach to prospective sponsors, but the fulfillment. Once you do get them across the finish line, how are you going to fulfill this relationship so that they do want to partner with you on a long-term basis? Yeah,
no, you're right. I have a whole CRM for group coaching, but I don't have any of that right now. Our sponsors is all brand new. And so I need to figure out maybe that's a good place to transition to like help me figure out like what's my immediate action plan, because there's like, I can kind of like see the picture of like where I sort of like should be as once is like a mature part of the business, but it's not right now.
Yep.
So I need to pitch some sponsors something ASAP.
Okay. So the immediate next step is buy my book Sponsor Magnet and get the bonus CRM that I give you for free. Clearly, like that's very important. Clearly.
Yeah. Well, I bought many Sponsor Magnets, so I probably
you have bought many. So, yes. I was speaking mainly to the people watching or listening
who haven't bought it. Yes.
Who haven't bought it yet. And then the next action steps are, I think it's pretty clear to me. It's like, okay, the 3 or 5, whatever that we've listed here on this call. Yeah. In the next 48 hours, you sit down and you figure out what is the pitch going to be. You go and you rescan chapter 1 of my book about the pitching step, which is, okay, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to spend 30 minutes per brand and I'm going to do research. I'm going to go look at their social media. I'm going to go look at their LinkedIn. I'm going to go look at Alexis's page who runs partnerships at Circle. What they just did this big NYC billboard campaign. What was that about? Right. So like what's important to them in their world right now? And ensure that when I pitch them, I'm not saying, hey, Alexis, I've got this new summit coming up in 6 weeks. You should sponsor it. It's, hey, Alexis, I saw that you guys are launching this new AI bot tool in Q1 or in Q4 or whatever. I would love to help spread the word about that by sponsoring my summit.
That's great. I actually won I won. They actually did just to really pick that example, they did an AI bot challenge and my community won as with the best AI on Circle's platform. So that's probably something we should talk about maybe. Like that might be worth referencing of like, let's celebrate that more.
Yeah. So again, like what is that version of the pitch for every brand that we just talked about here? It's like leading with them, the relevancy angle, and then a sponsorship of your summit is just the way for them to accomplish that objective. So you got to reframe this around like, it's not about me. It's not about my summit. They don't care about my summit. They don't have money for opportunistic dollars to sponsor a virtual summit that they didn't have on their radar 5 weeks ago. And so it's like, how can I figure out what they do have budget for that's left for the Q4, initiatives, and figure out how a sponsorship of me is, I can position that as a way for them to move the needle on that.
That's super smart. I can do that. So pricing. Yeah. Like packaging. I can kind of make this up as I go, but you're the guy and I can go back and reread the book, but I feel like what can you give me here on this?
What I can give you is you should join my group coaching program.
Probably.
Called Wizards Guild.
I should.
But the most earnest advice that I can give you around this scenario is that Circle may be willing to spend 10 grand and Ollie from Zenja may be willing to spend 2 grand. I don't know. Both are probably worthwhile. Both are going to be different scopes, obviously. But again, it's going to be all relevant to what their objectives are. And so I think it's not a fruitful exercise to sit in a vacuum and try to figure out what the number is. Yeah. Specifically for each sponsor. The more fruitful exercise is figuring out what is your heck yeah number. Meaning that when you provide packages to them, ultimately, if you get them on the hook, package 1, which is the lowest amount, is at a number where if they say yes to that, you say, heck yeah, let's go. I'm so excited about this. Not, oh man, I was hoping they'd pick package 4 or something. So whether that number is $1,000, $5,000, 10,000, I don't know what the number is for you to like get you excited, but I do think it's like a really important thing to figure out. It's different for everyone in terms of what that number is. Conspicuously absent here is a conversation of follower count or reach or how many people are going to be at this summit. I leave that whole thing out of this conversation because it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. What gets you excited? What gets you out of bed? And if they don't hit that number, that's fine. Like you said, you don't need the sponsors to like, pay payroll. Like it's not, just be like an additional benefit here. So like, what is the number that gets you excited to actually pull this off?
I'll think on that. I think if I was doing this in like a consultant capacity, I would probably pitch like 3 packages, knowing that I was happy with one. Is that kind of similar to what you'd recommend here?
Very much. Yeah. So it's again, you outline their goals on that initial call, hopefully. And then you put a proposal in front of them where the packages are tied to the goals. So they told you that they had 3 goals, let's say awareness and, conversions and leads for our summit or whatever. They tell you all these things. And then each package is tied to only one of those goals. So package 1 is the awareness goal. And that's where you're going to do a, newsletter blast about them or whatever. Package 2 is the repurposing goal where you give them content that they can run ads with or whatever. Package 3 is the conversion or the lead generation goal. And then package 4, that's where they get everything. That's the only way for them to accomplish all of their objectives is to pick the highest package.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can work with that. Yeah. And I know how to do follow-up. I know how to close sales, right? This is a lot like that. It's just a different approach. Yeah. And then I think as far as like making this a win so that sponsors say yes now, but then also say yes next year, it sounds like a lot of that comes back to their goals. Because I want to assume it's like conversions, but I hadn't thought about retention as a play. That's interesting.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, I'm literally talking with a prospective sponsor right now for my event, and they said, tell me how to pitch this to my superiors. Is this a retention play or is this an acquisition play? Give me data so I know which department to go to get budget from. So it's really, and again, that is going to change depending on the client.
This is great. Yeah. Well,
so I've solved your problem. It sounds like.
I think you have. You give me direction. And I guess if anybody wants to find out how we did, you can just check out the summit,
Yeah, come to the summit, click the link in the description or go to creatorwizard.com/smarts. John, thanks for coming, man. It was fun.
Thank you, Justin. I appreciate it.